Today we're going to look at one of the more confusing word choices in English. Who or whom and when do we use them? We use these with adjective clauses, which are used to describe nouns, and these are often over complicated and made more difficult because grammar books and teachers use very technical language such as object relative pronoun and subject relative pronoun. I'm going to really try to simplify that for you and give you something very clear to understand. Before we do that, I want to give you a quick review of adjectives. Remember, adjectives describe nouns. In English, they come directly before the noun that they're describing or modifying, and they're always singular. Okay, so here, difficult is the adjective, problem is the noun. Interesting is the adjective, question is the noun. And sincere is the adjective, apology is the noun. They come before the noun they're describing, so a dangerous situation, not a situation dangerous. Confusing homework, not homework confusing. And then they're always singular. Even if the noun that they're modifying is plural, such as houses, we say expensive houses, not expensives houses or houses expensives, like in some languages that put the adjective after the noun. An adjective clause also describes nouns. However, they come directly after the noun that they're modifying. An adjective clause is a group of words that includes a verb and a subject and a verb, and that is introduced with a relative pronoun. A relative pronoun is a group of words such as that, which, are words that we're looking at closely today, who and whom, and other words such as whose, where, and when. So here we see the noun a problem, and the adjective clause is that is difficult to understand. So again, there's my adjective clause, that is the relative pronoun. The example here, a person who you love to be around. A person is the noun, the adjective clause, who you love to be around, describes that person. I will have a link to this handout in the description of this video so you can read all of these examples, but I'm going to keep going. Sometimes we can also omit the relative pronouns. So if I'm describing an electrician, I can say an electrician you can trust, and that describes that electrician. Adjective clauses are great for making complex sentences. When you were first starting to learn English, maybe you made simple sentences like, they invited the guests to the party, or the guests were invited. The guests were invited to the party. And the guests were interesting. But with an adjective clause, you can combine those two simple sentences and write a more complex sentence with fewer words. The guests who they invited were interesting. Or you can say, the guests whom they invited were interesting. You can also use that or leave the relative pronoun out. So, when do we use who and whom? Ultimately, whom is more formal, and in spoken English, most of the time we use who. However, if you're writing a formal essay for academic purposes, professional letter or email, or if you're making a formal presentation in English, you might want to use whom in the correct situation. And here's a little secret. Most native speakers don't know what the correct choice is either. So as I mentioned, we call this an object relative pronoun. Don't worry about that. Here's the explanation. If the noun being modified is a person, and this is the key, we only use this with people, right? So if you're describing a person and there's a pronoun and a verb, and so here I've color coded them. The pronouns are red, the verbs are green. You can use whom or who. You can also use that or omit it. So a best friend is a person. What kind of person? A person who you love to be around. Here is a pronoun. Here is a verb. And so in this case, I can use who or whom. A best friend is a person whom you love to be around. Again, there's a pronoun and and a verb in the adjective clause, and so I can use who or whom. Let's look at another example. We should only vote for a politician. What kind of politician? A politician who we believe tells the truth, or whom we believe tells the truth. Here's a pronoun, subject pronoun we. Here's a verb believe. So again, we can use who or whom. We should only vote for a politician whom we believe tells the truth. Again, you can use that or leave out the relative pronoun altogether. One last example. They should hire an electrician. What kind of electrician? Who they can trust. Here's my pronoun. Here's my modal verb and verb. And so again, you can use who or whom depending on whether you're trying to be formal or informal. If there is no pronoun in the adjective clause, it's just describing a person again, but there's no pronoun, then you cannot use whom. And so let's look at this as an example. A best friend is a person. What kind of person? Who loves you no matter what. There's no pronoun here, nothing in red like up above. So in this case, I cannot use whom because there's no pronoun. I can use that. A best friend is a person that loves you no matter what. Another example, we should only vote for a politician. What kind of politician? A politician who tells the truth. There is only a verb here, not a pronoun and a verb, so I cannot use whom. Again, I can use that. And one last one. They should hire an electrician. What kind of electrician? An electrician who is trustworthy. In this case, I have a relative pronoun in the subject position. That's why we call it a subject relative pronoun. Before the verb, in this case the be verb, and then an adjective. So they should hire an electrician who is trustworthy or an electrician that is trustworthy, but I cannot say an electrician whom is trustworthy because there is no pronoun to indicate that. I hope this helped.